Hi guys, and welcome to UK Cowboys TV. I am your host Lauren, and I am joined tonight by the fabulous Brian Gaynor and UK Cowboys' very own original president, Mr. Jamie Smith, all the way from Yorkshire. So I apologise if you need subtitles. We are on Season 1, Episode 7. We're going to have a little chat about our next pre-season game. We've had a quick turnaround this week with the game at 1 a.m. Friday morning. So the guys recorded the post-game show about the Texans last night. So we're going to have a little chat about the Bucs. Well, really, we're going to focus in on what we think the 53-man roster is likely to be. So it's time to make some tough decisions, and probably in my relatively short time as a Cowboys fan, probably the toughest lot of cuts we've had to make. There's a lot of tough decisions to be made in this roster. I don't know if you guys can remember a time where it was much more difficult than this.
No, I certainly can't. I spent a good hour and a half, 2 hours this afternoon mulling it over, trying to see who would make the 53. And who were the guys that were right on the bubble? But it was simple enough in the end when I put it down. But still, there's a lot of guys there that you could see dropping out and other guys coming in. So it's interesting.
I know we've got we're actually recording on Wednesday evening, and in Dallas at the moment they've got a luncheon going on, and we've had some quotes come out from Stephen Jones. He said that they're receiving calls about trading some of their O-line and D-line guys. So that's probably pretty interesting place to start. I mean, which position group would you say is the toughest to call right now? Who's got the most difficult cuts to be made?
I think with how it's been going, especially building up from the end of last year, probably the D-line for me, just for the fact that a lot of people have stepped up, whereas in the past you had people that kind of just shone, and then you had the kind of the backups. And whereas this time there's a lot of guys where you get maybe your 3 or 4 who you would say, yeah, these guys are going to start, and then you've got the guys that will kind of back them up that could just step right in, and you wouldn't not necessarily miss them, but you know they could come in and do a job to that high standard, whereas in the past we haven't had that from the D-line.
Yeah, I'd agree there. I mean, in some ways we've had it made easier for us with Gregory and Quinn both being suspended. Otherwise, probably have even tougher decisions. And I guess we're just going to be delaying the inevitable with having to cut guys later on down the line with them. D-line for you, Brian?
No, the part I had difficulty with was actually my favourite area. Obviously, the defensive backs. Like it was pretty simple getting, say, the first 4 cornerbacks, and then it was difficult picking between 3 cornerbacks for 2 slots, and then picking the 4th safety. For me, I think it's Byron, Cheeto, Jordan, and Anthony Brown are straight on. And then personally, I went with Mike Jackson and CJ Goodwin getting on. Those 2 primarily because their special teams abilities. And Donovan Olumba was the guy who missed out. Then, quite controversially, at safety, I've gone with Jeff Heath. I think he's going to be a breakout star this year. I can see him finishing top of interception charts. He might return a pick 6 or 2.
Tackles for loss.
But in seriousness, the other 3 guys I went with were Xavier Woods. Obviously, is going to be our free safety. We all know that. And then I went with Donovan Wilson and Darian Thompson. I think Kevin Frazier is going to miss out.
Yeah, I went with pretty much identical to you, but I did include Frazier because of the special teams. But he's very much he could well find himself being that 54th, 55th guy. going to be really a tight call for him at the moment. I think probably a shock early on in the season when we picked him up, Georgia Loca. I kind of had him down in my head that he'd be a lock, but that's pretty much he's a lock not to make it now, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
yeah. I think doing mine. I think mine are kind of similar to yours, but I went with Euler and I went with Frazier as my next safety. But say, look, I had him, and it was a kind of a toss up between him and probably I'd say maybe Wilson. Kind of getting that last spot, but I suppose it's a luxury. It's nice to have, isn't it? It's horrible making them cuts, but it's nice to kind of flip those positions around and say, do you know what, we've struggled in the past, but we can whichever 10, if they go for 10, these 10 are going to actually step up and make some plays this year.
Yeah. I think one position group I found quite interesting was the wide receivers. So again, that was probably an area, maybe 6-8 weeks ago, we were pretty, sure what route we were going. Maybe it was just that perhaps that sixth spot we weren't so sure about. But with injuries and whatnot, we're probably looking a slightly different. I'd say, I guess we all agree on the lock four in Cooper, Gallup, Cobb, and Tavon Austin. And then you're looking at the other two. For me, Devin Smith played his way into the team pre-season.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's kind of left field. Seemed to have come out of nowhere. Great college career, but absolutely flopped, didn't he, at the Jets? But
I think it was more injuries held him back than anything because. I did take a big interest in that Ohio State team and a lot of the documentaries and stuff. The guy was just a touchdown machine, like JT Barrett and Cardale Jones just put the ball up and he was taking it to the house or he was catching it on back shoulder fades. So he went second in the second round or something like that.
Quite high, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, it was very high. So I think it was more injuries held him back than anything.
Yeah. And then for the sixth spot, I think most of us thought Noah Brown would be knocking around, but obviously he's going to likely to land on PUP. So I think, did we both have all of us go for Cedric Wilson?
Yeah.
Sixth
spot. What about you, Jamie? Your sixth wide receiver. Did you go with Cedric?
I didn't. I went with Johnson.
Yeah.
I was just like you said.
He's a big favourite. He's really popular. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I think with the safety position, I think it's one of them where you've got that luxury and you can't go wrong. I think either way, whoever we're going to cut, someone's going to end up picking up a really good player that, unfortunately, just because of the other positions that we probably need to fill in more need, that sadly going to have to lose one of the guys. It's just a shame maybe we can't maybe carry 7.
Yeah.
It's one of them, innit, where you've sadly got to lose one. And I just went with Johnson. I just think he a little bit more stood out for me.
Yeah.
In terms of the other guys.
Yeah, I think he could certainly do something in this last game to maybe give himself the push. I quite liked Reggie Davis early on in camp, but I don't think he's going to cut it. And I personally think there'll be hope in John Vale will skip through waivers and they can get him on the practice squad. We'll see. Always a toughie with the receivers, because how much action will those tail end wide receivers actually get as well? So if we start at the top of the roster, for the first time in what feels like 100 years, are we all agreed we're going with 2 quarterbacks?
Yes.
Yeah.
And is it the Ginger Ninja Cooper Rush? Obviously not number 1. Let's just be clear about that. We're going with Dak first. We are not the anti-Dak gang.
Yeah, I think we touched on it a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? I think Rush has probably just got the edge, whereas he's not. I don't think he's well rounded as Dak in every position, leadership, taking ownership, that kind of thing, accountability. But I think he probably at the War. He took his opportunities that he got compared to what White did.
Yeah, I've been so disappointed with Mike White. I was really excited when we got him out of college, and I thought he could hang around on the roster and even, not rush out, but just hasn't worked out for him. Maybe he'll go elsewhere and do something, but yeah, I think it's pretty clear cut at the moment. It's Dak and Rush, and finally not carrying the third quarterback.
Yeah, but I agree. I think there's only going to be 2 quarterbacks. But the interesting thing is, Mike White's the only quarterback we have under contract for next year, for 2020. So
maybe Mike White is the future. Then we don't know.
I'm sure John Kitna's sat around in a McDonald's somewhere that we can dust him off and get him in.
Yeah. Or who's that other guy that we always that always came in? Kyle.
I'm sure Jerry don't mind throwing 60, 70 million at Tony to get him out of both, maybe. You never know.
We've got Jeff. It don't matter. Okay, moving on. I've worked on the basis that Zeke is going to sign this weekend. So we're looking at the running back / fullback position. I think we would all agree that Zeke's there. Tony Pollard, obviously there. Did we all assume that the Cowboys are carrying a fullback in Olawale?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I think making that trade on it last year, I think you got kind of pack in, especially with the running game that we kind of have. I think. Yeah,
and he's popped up, hasn't he? He's had a few plays in pre-season. I think it looks like he's going to be a part of their plan. I know, Brian, you went with just the 3 guys. Pollard and Olawale. I chucked in Chan as well because I think he's done well pre-season. I think should for any reason Zeke doesn't sign, I imagine we would then keep Alfred Morris. I'd be surprised if we went in with all that young group otherwise. So extra guy then.
Yeah, I think I kind of did the same. I went / depending on Zeke, and I just think if you don't sign, I think you've got no choice but to put Morris in there. You need that veteran back. Pollard's shone through pre-season, but I think you just need that older head in the backfield, don't you, to kind of slow things down and give the guys a bit of a heads up of what to do and how to handle it.
Yeah, I mean, my concern with Pollard would be if we had to go with him and we haven't got Zeke, is can he take the intensity of the NFL is a different kettle of fish, isn't it? Especially at running back. How beat up is he going to be able to get and still carry that load? I think they'd have to split up the role with him and another.
And I think as well, because when he in college he wasn't that feature back, where I think we landed on with Zeke, whereas he was pretty much the every down back for Ohio State, whereas Pollard, you probably could say he's a little bit like a Tavon Austin, isn't he, where he can move him around the field, whereas is he an every down back?
So it's just, he's been brilliant in what we've seen, but it's just been in snatches so far. So it's just, well, hopefully we're not going to be in a position where we have to be reliant on him as a workhorse. So we've done quarterback, running back, wide receivers, tight ends. There's not even a debate, is there? 3 guys?
No. 3, yeah.
Yep. Witten, Jarwin, Schultz. No more Rico time. That is over. He's a Brown. We can finally rest in peace. Another toughie. The O-line. I think it's pretty set, isn't it? The starting boys: Tyrone, Connor Williams, Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, Lyle Collins, and then it's from there what's going on. Who did you roll with, Brian? Your others?
I found this was actually the easiest group to pick out. Yeah. I'm Cam Fleming, we're paying him too much to cut him. So he's the obvious. He can fill in. If heaven forbid something happens to Tyron Smith, we have Cam Fleming, who's played in the Super Bowl. he's in. Joe Looney has to return because he gives you that position flex. He can play guard and he can play centre. Su'Filo again can play guard and both guard spots, and then Conor McGovern. But the tricky part obviously is what happens with Conor McGovern. Does he start on PUP and get redshirted for this year? And then it brings in the who's next. And then I suppose kicking in with what Stephen Jones said at the luncheon today, they have been fielding calls for O-line and D-line players. So potentially someone could be looking to get maybe Looney or Su'Filo off us. And then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'd be loath to lose either one of those. But
yeah.
I mean, then you'd be looking at who else have we got? We'd be essentially cutting at the moment. Redmond, Campos, McNeil, Hyatt, Knight, Wickman, Mitchell, Beatty. I mean, they're not really any names there that you'd want to switch out the likes of Looney for.
Yeah, like I think Adam Redmond is probably going to lose out because Looney can cover centre and Conor McGovern can play centre as well. So he's just unfortunate there. I think they might try and get him back on the practice squad. Same for Campos and Hyatt. And see where we are then.
Yeah. So that is our offense covered. Again, with the special teams guys, pretty straightforward. It's going to be Maher, isn't it? I think either Jerry or Stevens come out and said, yes, we're very confident in our kicker. Glad someone is. Good. Chris Jones, obviously, and LP, obviously. There's not even questions over those two.
Special teams MVP, LP.
Indeed, yes.
He's been that for a while, hasn't he? Honestly, it feels like a part of the furniture. Is this his 14th or 15th year now? And I don't think he's missed a snap either, has he? On special teams in all that time as well.
He must be the second oldest person in the Cowboys organisation after Jerry. So the difficult one, defensive line. So if I go through who I've got and you can say yay or nay. DeMarcus Lawrence, I think we'll say yay.
Yeah. We can throw him in there as maybe the 6th or 7th.
We'll chuck him in. Crawford, we all going with Crawford? Yeah. I know that there seems to be lots of debate across various Cowboys pages about cutting him, but not for me.
I think does his salary kind of hinder that as well? I think he's on a bit of a big deal as well this year, so he's quite a big hit.
He's I think he's $7 million against the cap this year, but it is the final year of his contract. But we're not in any cap danger. Like we've 23 million in cap space as we stand today. So there's no requirement really to cut players for salary cap unless we have 4 big deals to do.
Maybe Jeff Heath on an extension there, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like I think Jeff would do similar to Jalen. I think he'd take a team-friendly deal.
Oh, looking at the interior of that D line, we've got Collins, Woods, and Hill. I think those 3 are all locks. We'd all agree.
Yeah.
Perhaps one that we were gonna ready to chuck in the bin the last, pretty much every episode we've recorded so far, kind of put egg on our face with his last performance, a certain Mr. Taco. He had a bit of a game, didn't he?
He did.
I've got him down as a lock to make the team now. You guys?
I think so, yeah. I were a bit critical last time I was on the show of the D-line because they were absolutely awful. To the Rams, wasn't it? And they just didn't seem to get any penetration. Just couldn't get anything, and literally they just sprung into life. And yeah, I think this was the hardest one for me. Like I say, just off the back of that last game, it was just everyone stepped up that you wanted. That kind of had a poor week the week before.
Yeah. Dorrance Armstrong, I've gone with. I think he's performed well in pre-season. Hyder, good, great free agent pickup. I think he's been really good.
He was fantastic last week.
Yeah. Joe Jackson, got him down.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then Covington as well, I think is my other guy. I don't know if either of you had anyone extra or excluded from that.
I think on the back of the conversations that we had with, the one that's happening in Dallas at the minute, I kind of put question marks against Covington and I think Collins. That they might be a couple that get maybe the talks of the trade.
Yeah.
If he was going to let anybody go, I don't know if he'd be able to.
Yeah, I wouldn't want us to part with Malik Collins. Did you say?
Yeah, I think unless I've written it down.
Yeah. I'd want quite a bit for him at the moment. I think, but it's just with him, it's health, isn't it? You know, every year we're talking him up, but there's been knocks and foot injuries and whatnot. But hopefully, he can be all guns blazing. I'm not sure what we'd get for Covington. He was like my do I don't I put him in. He was a cuff guy for me.
Yeah. I must admit, like I say, I know we mentioned Jackson, and I know we've got him. If we don't take one of the Jacksons, I'm going to be very disappointed, because when we're up at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and there's either a sack or an interception, we need to hear that. If not, I'm just turning off and I'm coming to bed. Writing Twitter down, Facebook.
It'll be interesting to know whether my fellow co-host Mike Poland, we've all left out his guy Jalen Jelks. See if he'd have included him or not. I think he's just the unlucky guy in this situation for me.
Yeah, like that's one of my bubble debates is whether Jelks makes it. Like Covington will, I think he'd save something like $1.5 million against the cap, but I think they might try and get Jalen Jelks back through onto the practice squad. Like I don't think he's done a lot in pre-season that teams are going to go, we have to try and get this guy through, so he might make it through waivers back to us. So I think with him,
he's very raw, isn't he? So a year on the practice squad would do world of good for him. But he's the one guy that maybe Mike would include. On to our linebackers then. For me, obviously the first three are locks, and I included in Thomas on top of that. So obviously we've got my man, Mr. Sean Lee, in the background of Brian's room right there. Jalen Smith, our new money man, and of course Mr. LVE. I've included Thomas, March, and Gifford as well, because the Cowboys are a little bit in love with Gifford by the sounds of it. Same for you guys, or different linebacker prospects at all?
I had the same, and the two that stood for me, like I say, Thomas and Match. I'm hoping one of these kinds of as a Annan Hitchens kind of year, where he's maybe not expected to do a lot, but he just blows it out of the water. And it's saying you got that problem, then you've got somebody that you play the free, but somebody needs to drop out.
Yeah,
got someone there that is essentially a starting caliber.
Yeah. I mean, the prospect of Lee making it through 16 games is slim to none, isn't it? So we really want someone else to certainly pop up and be about. The guys that are being cut at linebacker then be Chris Covington, Andrew Dowell, Nate Hall, Justin Phillips, and Kyle Quayle.
I had for me the way I had the roster split, I had an extra linebacker, and I'd taken Chris Covington on my side.
Okay. Over a running back, wasn't it?
That was where it was, and primarily the reason I went that way is obviously what we're hearing out of camp is that they're in love with Luke Gifford, but he's going to go straight onto IR, and then they're going to look to bring one of the running backs back onto the squad. So that's why I went with 7 linebacks and included Chris Covington. But I fully expect Gifford goes to IR and you bring back Alf Morris.
Yes.
Just to have that experienced voice on the sidelines.
So I think we've covered our 53. We're pretty much all, we're there or thereabouts. I guess it could be, maybe that 6 wide receiver spot could be up for grabs. And again, maybe someone like Jelks could work his way in. Otherwise, I think, there's not, although we've got a lot of competition, it doesn't feel like there's any glaring, there's no one I'd really put my life on the line and fight to get on this squad. And maybe it's just because they're not my pet cat, I don't know. It's a shame Mike Webber perhaps hasn't shown up more, but is that at the fact that Pollard's done so much better than perhaps the Cowboys expected?
I think you could have said, he would have probably 90% been a lock, wouldn't he? I think, if Pollard kind of didn't work out.
Yeah, strange one.
And I think the fact that they're talking about Jordan Chun and Darius Jackson as potentials coming in for Luke Gifford if he moves to IR, because they can do things on special teams like that, kind of looks like a wasted pick. But then I suppose Weber was very late. He was supposedly late 6th or 7th round pickup. So you never know if you're going to get those guys onto your 53 anyway. So I'd be disappointed for him, but look, it's not a huge disappointment.
No, it's not the be all or end all, is it?
No.
So looking towards the Bucks, they've done okay in preseason so far. They've had 2 wins, so they beat the Browns and the Dolphins, and they have lost to the Steelers. And all the games have been by either 1 point. I think they beat the Browns by 1 point, and the Dolphins by 2 points, and lost to the Steelers by 2 points. So are we not going to get another Texans 34-zip blowout? What do we think against the Bucks? Any predictions?
The Bucks are, I honestly, and I've said it all along when we've all discussed stuff when we've been out and about. The Bucks are the one team in the NFL I absolutely despise, and I can't put my finger on why. It's just, which is really weird because when John Gruden coached him, he's one of my favourite coaches ever. I absolutely despise the Bucks. I hope we absolutely blow them out of the water here. I really
Jamie, wouldn't have anything to do with who owns them, would it?
Do you know what? Weirdly thinking, it's not. It's actually nothing to do with the Glazers and that Man United. It's just ever since I got into the NFL, I don't know what it is. I just despise them.
Oh, if I didn't know, I thought you were talking about the Eagles then.
Oh yeah, I hate them just as much. But it's just when you have, because it's nailed on it, like the Eagles, Giants, and the Redskins. But when you look at the I don't mind any other kind of team. I'll watch some of the games, but the Bucks, I'll turn off the hop. They're awful. I hate them.
Well, I think Jameis Winston was a Eagles fan growing up, so that explains a lot. I think we're all agreed the score doesn't really bother us, does it? Essentially, it's more the performance and getting through healthy.
Yeah. Say we're not going to see. I think it's going to be more the roster bubble players here, and that's going to step up. It's going to be nice. Some of the guys that we've discussed at the bottom of the roster tonight. It's going to be nice to see them get in and see how they can compete. See who really wants to be a part of this 53.
Yeah. I think we've pretty much wrapped it all up for tonight. So the game is at 1 a.m. Friday morning if you're listening to this. So that is go to bed on Thursday, but get up extra early at 1 o'clock in the morning. I know some people have a little bit difficulty telling the time when it comes to 24-hour clocks, but there you go. We will learn with Lauren as we go. So Mike will be back next week with some of the guys to chat about the Bucks game, and with any luck, we'll be talking about Elliott's new contract with the Cowboys. Let's hope that gets signed and sealed this weekend.
Amen.
Say a little prayer, everyone. So thanks for joining us. Thank you to Brian and to Jamie for the chat, and we will be back next week. Peace. Go Cowboys.
Take care.
Bye.